Hello, stampers and crafters. My name is Sarah Chatello-McGuire from SassyPaperCrafts. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and welcome to my Series 101. This video series is going to be several episodes long. We're going to start with Stamping 101, getting started, getting you all the basics on even what is stamping, all the way up to Embossing 101, heat embossing 101, die cutting 101, etc. So please subscribe to my channel to get and hit the little notification bell to get notified when I upload new videos. And I hope that this helps build your confidence and creativity in your Stampin' Up! Experience. And I want to thank you so much for watching. Enjoy! Today's 101 video is all about adhesives. So I'm going to go through and show you the different types of adhesives, what they do, what you might need them for. So if you look at your catalog on page 127, or you can go to my online store and look at adhesives, there is a whole page of adhesives. There are 15 items listed here. I'm not going to go through all 15, but I'm going to show you the basics. Because when you look at this, that's a lot of adhesive. They're very overwhelming, and it could be like, what do I use this stuff for? So first, the bare bones basic adhesive. These are the ones I use every time I craft. The first one is Stampin' Seal, and it looks like this. You need to get the one that is number 10. It also has refills, you'll see though down here. There's Stampin' Seal and the Stampin' Seal refill. To start, you'll need the regular Stampin' Seal. Now, I have 2 of these just because I use them so much. And when you do a refill, you open it up, and this little tape runner comes out. So these also come in refills. And when you need a new one, when you run out, you just line up these 2 little pegs here into the holes and put the cover back on, and it is ready to go. So I'm going to show you how this works. So I just have a scrap piece here of Evening Evergreen and my Stampin' Seal, and if I wanted to put this onto a layer or a card base or anything like that, I would just take it, and you got to make sure the adhesive is at the top, so that's sticky right there, and just run, and it runs just like a regular tape runner. Now there is also Stampin' Seal Plus, which is the same as Stampin' Seal in the effect that you refill it the same way. This stuff is a lot stronger though, so this would be something you would use if you make 3D projects, boxes, bags, that sort of thing. And I'm going to show you it works the exact same way, except, hopefully you can see that. See the little lines on the Seal Plus? That is because it is so strong, that way it'll cut itself off, where this regular seal doesn't have that. Still super sticky though. The next one that is a basic and just a staple, and I always have a bottle of this, I don't tend to use it as much as the Seal and Seal Plus, is Tombow liquid glue. So this is your everyday regular glue. There is 2 tips to it. It's just a regular old glue. It does take a minute to dry. I love this for beginners because you get a minute with it. So if I was to put paper on there, I could finagle it and wiggle it before it completely dries. With the seal, that's pretty much instant. And there are 2 tips to this. There's a large tip, which I never use, to be honest. Let me see, I never use it. So let's see. Oh, geez, I just put a bunch of glue. That's why I never use it. But there's a large tip on it. And then the fine tip, which, like I said, I use way more. So those are the basic adhesives that you absolutely need, in my opinion. Next up are ones that you don't necessarily need, but are super nice to have, and that can really make your projects pop. So let's talk about dimensionals. So these are the regular Stampin' Dimensionals. You get 3 sheets, I believe. Yep, 3 sheets in a pack. These ones, obviously, I've used. And they're just little foam shapes that you put behind things to pop it up. So what I mean by that is, here's a card where I've used dimensionals, and you can see if I turn it to the side, to just pop them up a little bit. So when you look at this in person, these flowers are kind of 3D and popping at you. There are also mini Stampin' Dimensionals. These are much smaller than the regular dimensionals. Let's show you that side by side there. They're much smaller, and they are great for smaller shapes. So like the leaves here are a lot smaller, so I used mini dimensionals when popping those up. And then next, I want to talk about adhesive sheets. I love adhesive sheets. I use them quite often. So they're huge. This is how big the pack of adhesive sheets is. What I do is I cut them. So they do have little tabs in here. Here's one where you can just pull this off, and this is sticky. And what they're great for is die cutting. So if you're not really into die cutting yet, I wouldn't worry too much about the adhesive sheets, but I do have a few examples showing you where I use them. So for this card, I use both dimensionals on the flower and the sentiment, and I used adhesive sheets for the die cut here. So it makes it almost into a sticker. So what you do is you put this on your cardstock, you set down your die, run it through your machine, and you peel off the backing, and it makes your die cut into a sticker. This one too also I use mini Stampin' Dimensionals for the sentiment, and then for the cutout words here, I used the adhesive sheets. Next up are more of what I call specialty adhesives. So these are ones that are really nice to have. I don't reach for them a ton, but I do use them. So the first one is tear and tape. So when you get tear and tape, it comes like this, and this is a super strong adhesive similar to Seal Plus. The only difference is it's a big roll of tape. I use this primarily for things like boxes and 3D projects. So when I'm trying to like make a box and close it, I'll show you my card holder. That's all I have available. But I made this to hold my card bases, and I have tear and tape along the sides here. So that way it's a super strong hold. I can move this around and it's not going to break. I mean, it is still paper, so you don't want to do too much, but that way this is really strong, but it's also tearable. So what I do is I'm not going to use too much because I don't want to waste it, but you just tear it off, put it on your project, and this has an adhesive back, which is really hard to peel when it's not on paper. There it goes. It has an adhesive back, and it's just a super strong tape. The next thing I want to talk about is the foam adhesive strips. So these are really cool for things like shaker cards, to pop up larger images. They're the same as our Stampin' Dimensionals. You get 2 sheets in here, and you can cut them. Let me try to pull one up. And like I said, I use these, but not a ton. And they're just little strips, basically, of our dimensional material. They're foam, and they are great for, like I said, large layers, things you want to pop up, shaker cards. I don't really make too many shaker cards, but if you want to look that up, I'm sure there's a YouTube video all about shaker cards. But these are the foam adhesive strips. The last adhesive I want to talk about is a favorite of mine. While I don't think it's absolutely necessary, these are really great to have. These are mini glue dots, and they might be hard to see, but it is a roll of mini glue dots. So what these are great for are sequins, small embellishments. I tend to use them a ton for bows and ribbons. So what I'll do is I will take my paper piercer on the take your pick tool. I will peel one off. You can see it on the tip there. And I usually will take my fingers and just roll it up into a little ball. There, into a little ball, and then I will put it behind my ribbon. So these are, like I said, not 100% necessary, but I really do highly recommend them. And the last thing I want to talk about, it's not technically an adhesive, but it is on the adhesives page. It's the last thing on the adhesives page. This is the silicone craft sheet. So this is great, especially if you don't have grid paper or a work surface that you're willing to, mess with. Adhesive will not stick to this. So you put the adhesive down, right? I can roll that up and it comes right off onto my finger. So this is great for when you're putting adhesive, let's say, on your card backings. You can set your card down here, you roll it, you put adhesive down. Let me see. Put adhesive down and it just doesn't stick. It comes right off, so it protects your grid paper, protects your work surface. This is also a good thing to use if you are into embossing paste or anything that's messy, because it's silicone too. So if you're using even I have it backwards, but if you're using even embossing powders and want a surface to protect the powder, you can pick this up and pour your powder back in. This is completely washable, so if it does get kind of mucky, if you get maybe some liquid glue on it, it won't stick to that either. You can just take that to your sink, wash that off, and it is good to go. So I did want to mention the silicone craft sheet. Again, not a absolute necessity, but it is really nice to have. So before we wrap up talking about adhesives, I know I went through a lot of stuff and you're probably thinking, okay, Sarah, but what do I have to have? These are the things you have to have. I recommend I recommend both, but if you're going to pick one, either Stampin' Seal or liquid glue for your card making, and a pack of dimensionals. These are all really affordable options that won't break the bank. I usually, with every order some type of adhesive to go with it. I also highly recommend mini glue dots. While they're not a necessity, I do highly strongly encourage everybody to have them. So these are the things, these three, plus this if you're feeling froggy, but these three are the must-haves in my opinion. So if you're just starting out stamping and you have no idea what adhesives to buy, I recommend everybody having all three of those. So I hope you enjoyed this video on adhesive. I hope that I was able to help you learn a little bit about the different adhesives. Please subscribe to this channel. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. I will see you guys next week with a new 101 video. Thank you so much for watching.